SAPIA was formed in 1994. The process which led to the formation of SAPIA all started in February 1990 when Mr. Mandela was released. That changed everything. Prior to that, the South African petroleum industry had been shrouded in secrecy, controlled by the Official Secrets Act. One couldn't say anything about the oil industry to anybody without the risk of being put in jail, frankly. But with the release of Mr. Mandela, everything changed. And the way in which this South African oil industry worked also changed. And we moved from this secret, strange industry to being a proud, open industry. That made the formation of SAPIA possible.
In 1994, South Africa was in a siege economy, and we were coming out of that and into a new South Africa. It was a very exciting and joyful situation for us, but we knew that we were going to have to negotiate a new dispensation for the oil industry. And that involved a vehicle like SAPIA to negotiate with government and other stakeholders on what system of regulation we had. Because internationally, the oil industry is regulated. It wasn't a question of totally deregulate. It was going to be re-regulation, and we were going to have to engage with other role players in the industry on what the rules of the game would be. And that's why we formed SAPIA.
Only after Minister Penwell Maduna was appointed in 1996, and he started the process of transformation in our industry in earnest and set up a group which led to the production of the first democratic white paper on energy. The policy in the white paper in 1998 was that 25% of the oil industry should be in black hands within a period of 10 years. And that focused then on the question of how do you get large multinational corporations owned by local shareholders. A tremendous challenge from a financial point of view.
At that time, a leader of Excel Petroleum, which was a small black-owned company in the industry, entering the industry, and I was also a leader of the African Mineral and Energy Forum, which was basically an organization that was looking after the interest of the new entrants in the industry. So the industry was very untransformed at that time, so it was dominated by the major players only, so there was very little black empowerment there. So we obviously advocated transformation in the industry.
But it went further than that. One also had to talk about empowerment in terms of the staffing and management structures so that you reflected the demographics of the country. And in terms of your procurement, where you're supporting other businesses that were economically empowered. But perhaps the most important thing of all I felt in our charter was the enabling culture. We said that what there has to be is there has to be a supportive or an enabling culture in place. In other words, people have to want to transform.
We wanted a system that first and foremost promoted investment, that promoted the protection of the environment, that promoted safety, and of course in South Africa's case, transformation.
The Liquid Fuels Charter was the first charter that triggered the entire economic transformation in this country, because the following one was a mining charter, and the third one was a financial services charter, and the rest of the charters that came thereafter. So it was such a historical milestone to be part of that process.
When I took over the chairmanship of SAPIA beginning of 2013, and you know we rotate every year, I made it a priority for non-integrated to play a significant role. You know, they are represented at the Board of Governors. We set committees where they can play a relevant role. But at the end of the year, we agreed that they will assess their presence in the association and see what is the benefit for all their members. And I think this has been positive. They are still there in the second year.
New integrated members, most of them, they are new in the market. As you know that the integrated members have got a history of a number of years, and then the non-integrated members, they are new participants, and therefore in terms of employment, we're seeing that there's more that they can add value there, because they're starting from a level of employing the right people and transforming, and as a result, that actually speed up the transformation in the industry.
But this is fully aligned with what started with the Liquid Fuel Charter and all our transformation program, and I think it has been sort of a culmination of this program. But it's just a journey. We are just at the beginning of a long journey, which is very important for the association.
One of the initiatives that we're pursuing or championing through the board member is the clean fuels. This is the move to upgrade the petroleum product specification from the current specification we have to much more improved specification, which will be equivalent to Euro 5 specifications. And we also have got an initiative that looks at climate change. We need to reflect the society in which we operate in. So it's critical as a sector that we continue to promote transformation through various means, either through our employment strategies, through how we procure goods and services from the small businesses that are supplying services to our industry.
We have big projects that are lined up coming ahead in the next few years. For example, the clean fuels investment that requires skilled individuals, and more government is very strict and about the use of local content, and we're committed to that. We want to make sure that the opportunities that are available in our industry, either for project work or for normal operations, are made available to South Africans, and we are not importing skills as a standard.
The relationship, I believe that it is a sound one. It's a relationship between a regulated association as well as the regulator. And therefore, in that relationship, from time to time, there's tension. But, they are an important stakeholder for us as a department. And we've been able to maintain a professional relationship. But at the same time, I think it's important that going forward, SAPIA's membership continues to grow. It is broadened to include new players as well, because in the past it's only been confined to the big major oil companies.
So it's critical that we work and support the government in whatever that we do, to make sure that as they are achieving their objectives, we are also achieving our objectives, which is to ensure that we've got a sustainability industry that takes this generation to the future generations as well.
I think the main challenge around transformation is that transformation is a journey. We have part of our stakeholders that feel that we haven't done enough, but transformation is a slow process. It requires investments. It requires commitment from members, from stakeholders, and other parties that are involved.
I think every country wants to be self-sufficient, but when you choose to be part of a global world, I think you need to live with the fact that most countries in the world import up to 40% of what they require. We've never had our own indigenous crude. All our crude is imported. The reason why it's important is because for almost the 15 rand that we're now paying for a liter of fuel at the pump, more than 70% of that goes towards the procurement of crude. The remainder of that, the majority goes to government taxes. So less than a rand would then go to the businesses who own the retail businesses, and then half of that will go to wholesalers like ourselves. So you can see that there's a bit of a challenge.
We did have audits done of the progress in the industry. Progress was patchy. You achieved the ownership target and you were battling to achieve various staff targets and procurement targets. But the real empowerment would have been to making sure that you were buying goods and services, other goods and services from places where black people were being employed to make those goods and services.
There are a number of areas where we can have improvements, and I think those are the ones that we're going to be working on going forward. For example, the issues around the retail participation of previously disadvantaged South Africans in the retail network. I think it's one of those areas where there's got to be a lot of work done.
We have some of the refineries in this country that are more than 50 years old, but they've never been managed by South Africans. Surely that cannot be, especially with high levels of unemployment that we're experiencing in this country, but also just the need to bring in previously disadvantaged individuals into the economic mainstream because they've been excluded for more than 350 years. So I think moving forward, we are hoping that we're going to partner with government to continue to be a trusted advisor, partner of choice, and do everything possible to ensure that this becomes a capable state.
There's been significant movement in that direction. In fact, when we started at that time, not a single major oil company had 25% BE broad-based ownership. Now, every major oil company has got 25% black broad-based shareholding in their company, particularly also including broad-based women organizations as shareholders. So we've made significant progress in that area.
We are celebrating our first anniversary of 20 years, and for the next 2 decades, what I see as a priority is for SAPIA to understand the needs of its stakeholders. We don't play independently. Second, it's very important to promote, as I mentioned it, an inclusive social and economic growth. Then we have more specific goals for our industry, such as security of supply. We, as I said, also promote the non-integrated members. So that transformation is also key on the agenda.
I think the development of others is one of the most important leadership attributes. When one is concerned about the effectiveness and efficiencies in climbing the corporate ladder of success, you are being self-centered. But genuine leaders personally develop great people. And the reason why we participate in industry bodies like SAPIA is because we want to spend time, energy and effort in getting young people, working with them, exposing them to some of the challenges in the industry so that we can develop the next layer of leadership, probably for the next 30 years.